So, Bob, I have a bunch of emails here. Let's read them and answer. What do you say?
I can read.
All right. I'll read them for you so you don't have to read. Listener Steph from Manila, the Philippines, says, is it okay to have secrets from your relationships? Is it healthy or is it dishonest? So, end of email. Pretty open-ended question.
Yeah.
But I think it's something we haven't talked about in a while, at least.
Yeah.
Secrets in relationships, like, I don't know, how many people you've had sex with, or whether or not you fantasize about someone, or you bought this thing online and it's not really within your budget, but you can pull back on this other area to make something work, or you harbor resentments towards your partner that you just have resolved you're just never going to mention. Or, I don't know, you don't like his mom very much, but you never mention it because you're just worried about something bad happening. Are these secrets okay?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's sort of like there's some secrets that if my partner knew, they'd be hurt. And there's some secrets that if my partner knew, they'd be injured. The injuries, I think that's probably, those are, one should be mindful about doing things that are injurious or potentially injurious to a partner. But, you're not going to like everything about your partner. You're not going to see eye to eye about everything. I don't see any reason. I think honesty and full disclosure are not the same thing.
What do you mean?
Well, I can be basically honest with Colleen, right? But that doesn't mean I have to say everything that comes into my head, or I like talking about for me, talking about every annoyance. Oh my God. In fact, we'd never talk about anything else, okay? Because I'm irritable. So.
Meaning that you get annoyed a lot
Yeah.
with people or Colleen.
Yeah.
And if you voiced every instance or even a summary at the end of the day, that would be bad.
It would be all this headache and frustration, and for what?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
So I don't consider those secrets. I consider that more like being just discreet.
Yeah. For me, if Stacy were annoyed with me periodically through the day, I would like her to curate that or select from those. I wouldn't want her never to say anything, but I would want her to prioritize, I guess, and tell me those things. Or another thing is, I don't know, if she were fantasizing about having sex with someone else. I intellectually, I understand that could happen.
Sure.
But I don't want to hear about it.
No.
I'm not saying that everyone is like that, but that's how I am anyway.
Yeah.
And, while I'm on that topic, I could see myself getting used to that kind of talk. If you just head into that area, you have to, jump some hurdles to allow yourself to have what I might call some fantasy ethical non-monogamy, if you will, and, but, we have a style of relationship where, we, don't ask, don't tell kind of stuff when it comes to things like that, which is, is that secret. And so it really depends on the kind of relationship you want to have.
Yeah.
And it, delineating between what you're calling injuries versus hurt, and predicting what the other person would really want you to disclose.
Yeah.
And maybe also talking with your partner about, I don't know if you'd want to say secrets, but the kinds of things you select to not mention, or what would be the point, Like if Stacy had a dream about having sex with someone, or had a dream about drowning me, or something. Well, the second one I definitely would want to hear about. But it's like, what would be the purpose of telling someone about?
Yeah.
Or maybe another, I don't know why I just keep coming back to sex
Yeah,
things.
what's with you and sex?
But if, for example, we're walking down the street and she's reminded, or I'm reminded of some past, before we even met each other, sexual encounter, and it just sort of flashes through. Oh, I remember having sex with this person in this particular way, and it just sort of popped into my head. What would be the purpose of saying, oh, it just popped into my head, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we had the kind of relationship where that sort of those social disclosures are normal, then, and I think we do kind of, I don't think those are off limits entirely, but I think it's like, well, why risk triggering my partner to just have this random conversation starter? Like it's not really that critical. Yeah. And if it did rise to that, like, oh my God, I really have to tell Stacy about what just passed through my head, then I would. But so yeah, it depends. And of course the internet discourse around this kind of stuff is just really ridiculous. There's a lot of radical honesty sort of things. I think that people have a pretty, online anyway, whenever, because when you bring it up, you're just like, is it okay to have secrets? In fact, in my field of marriage and family therapy, we often have a discussion around secrets because, families and couples will come into us and we might be talking with them individually. And if they tell us a secret, the general dogma is no secrets. Yeah. Meaning that you immediately tell the other person you don't want to be triangulated. You don't want, secrets can theoretically ruin and sort of fester in systems. Yeah. And disclosure is kind of, again, I use the word dogma because it's sort of a blind faith that that's always going to be beneficial. Yeah. When, as we're talking, Bob and I right now, it's obvious, like it depends. And so I find that the discourse in society and in my field is dogmatic around, because when you say secret, it's like, well, secrets are bad, right? And I don't want my partners or family members to be harboring secrets. It feels, you always just want to know more information. It's sort of like when you get cheated on, there's this compulsion, like, I want to know every detail. I want to know when, I want to know how, I want to know, where did he put the fingers? Right. Did you orgasm? Right. And it's like, I get it totally, but it's a potential harm to you to insert those images into your mind if you're trying to salvage the relationship, or even just trying to salvage your own trust in humanity, like intellectually understanding cheating is happening and making decisions thereof. Okay. But to like insert all those movie reels into your mind can really rot your mind away, of just that feeling. A really good depiction of this is Tom Cruise in Eyes Wide Shut. He's walking down the street and he's thinking about Nicole Kidman's character. Have you seen Eyes Wide Shut? No. Oh, it's interesting movie. The first time I saw it, I was like, huh? The more I think about it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's Stanley Kubrick, blah, blah, blah. But Tom Cruise I can't remember exactly how he gets there, but he learns that his wife fantasized or did have sex with some other guy, and it is kind of rotting away in his head. He's like walking down the street, visualizing his wife having sex with this other guy. And it is slowly making him more and more angry. And he's walking down the street, like punching his own hand. He's just like, ugh. And it leads to him cheating on his wife, I believe. And it's just one of those things, cheating and secrets and betrayal, these are real, and we want to be very careful about not betraying our partners. Sure. And being, because this leads, I guess the most quintessential example of this, and Bob, what do you think, is that, say one night you get drunk and you cheat on Colleen. Ugh. And you wake up the next day and you're racked with guilt, and you're just like, oh my God, like why, I can see how this happened. Right. You go to therapy, you talk with me about it, and you're just like, what's going on? And you eventually land at this place of just like, I am an idiot. I don't know why I did that. I got too drunk, or I let my feelings for Colleen get too complicated so that I felt like I needed to passive aggressively get back at her, or I should have just gone right to her and said, I'm really hurt about things that are happening lately. And I've resolved it, but should I tell Colleen? What would you say?
Well, me and Colleen already talked about this when we got started, and we were of the same mind. if you cheat, I don't want to know, so lie your ass off.
Oh, really?
It is incumbent on you. You're the one who screwed up. You keep it to yourself. Take it to your grave. I don't want to know.
Interesting. So you've explicitly established that.
Yeah, that's mutual. We both feel the same way about it.
Interesting.
You owe me. I owe you absolute, because I can't unring the bell. I can't get that out of my head.
Yeah.
Once it's there, it's so.
Why? Because most people would be like, wouldn't you want to know?
No, I don't want to know.
But if it happened, wouldn't you? I mean,
if I find out, then yeah, I want to know. I'd rather just not know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I trust Colleen. She trusts me. I don't think either one of us is thinking the other person is cheating. So, good.
But if it did, say she had one dalliance one night, it'd be awful. But if she came back to you and, wrestled with the, because usually cheating, in my experience, in fact, not usually, universally, comes from a place of pain for people. They're suffering, and the cheating is a distraction from that, or running away from that, or some kind of passive aggression towards your partner,
right?
Some sort of personality disorder that's getting acted out, desperation. Please love me. Does anyone love me?
All of that, right?
And it's not like, it's never a thing of, ha ha ha, I'm going to have my cake and eat it too. And if your partner is struggling and suffering, and they have, and the other thing I'll say is, after cheating, universally, people regret it. It's pretty awful for people. I will say that there are times when I've worked with people who are seemingly like very much in love with their other person.
Right.
But they don't want to end their relationship. So I won't paint them all in one, but in terms of like these one night standy sort of, or 1 month emotional texting back and forth, it's usually just born out of a ton of suffering. But anyway, how many couples percentage wise do you think have an arrangement like you and Colleen?
I have no idea.
What was a guess?
Oh, okay. 10%.
No, I would say 0.01%. I'd say 1 out of 10,000 people
don't want to know,
have explicitly a rule.
Whoa. Well, get with it, folks. You don't want to know.
Well, I mean, I would say that a larger percentage should consider it for sure. Yeah. I don't think it's a universal thing. No. Some couples, I think, would say, well, I don't want it to happen.
Right.
But I would like to know, so that I could at least know what the landscape is. And if that means we have to go through a lot of therapy to recover, then that's what it means. But yeah, I'd like to know. Because the other thing is, like, what if it's ongoing?
Oh, yeah. No, the agreement that we made is, if you cheat, it ends. It will not go on, and you will take it to your grave. Yeah. If she were having a relationship, the agreement that we have is no relationship. If you stray, you will get back in check. Both. I'm not saying this is what Colleen will do. No, we both have this agreement. You will not carry on a relationship. That would be a real betrayal, and you will take it to your grave.
But if it were longer term, then the disclosure is the rule?
Yeah, I think if there's an affair,
like an ongoing thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's, because that has some complications to it. Like, is there sexual contact that, like, is there, risk of, passing on a disease or whatever. That would be a crappy way to find out that your partner cheated on you, is to, find out. Oh.
Well, plus, wouldn't you just want to know the landscape? If someone has like 3 toes in someone else's door, if you will, wouldn't, and it's ongoing for 6 months, like, wouldn't you want to know, like, oh, that's why I feel this and that?
Yeah. I think,
but if it was a one night
thing, then just, you will lie, you will stuff it, you will work on it, and you will, because the thing is the reason we came to this agreement, the reason we both have this attitude is because it's sort of like, when you disclose, who are you helping? Like, you feel guilty, and now your partner has this crap in their mind that they can't, it's like a bell can't be unrung. And for what? For what?
Yeah.
What's the bell? Who wins?
Right.
Like I don't, if I'm on the receiving end of that, I do not win.
Right.
I know it. And then I have all the things that people have, which is I want to know every damn detail, which I know is more bells that can't be unrung. And so best left, ignorance isn't bliss, but it beats knowledge. But I mean, I would have the same impulses to want to know, and I might actually seek it out because that's a hard pitch to lay off. There's certain things I would want to know, like how are you hiding it? What's that access point here? What's the plan for, relapse prevention? Mm-hmm. Who is the person and how are we going to make sure they go away? Like I imagine what I would want is for her and me to meet that person and let them know that we're working on our relationship and they're not welcome mm-hmm. and they need to back off mm-hmm. and let us work on it. I got that out of a training with that, that guy, Barry McCarthy, mm-hmm. that guy? Oh, he's a sex therapy guy. I really like him. Good guy. He talks about that as relapse. Actually, what he talks about is he tells a story about someone who had an ongoing affair with somebody from the church, and she wanted to keep her marriage and ended the affair. And her husband and her took the guy out to lunch and sat with him and said, "We need you to respect our boundary."
Yeah. A great...
I'm not sure you need lunch, but...
Yeah. A great thing to do would require a ton of differentiation and maturity to carry out that I don't think most people possess.
It's humiliating for that.
And for everyone involved. I mean, the other person has to stand up to what happened, and because that takes a lot. Like, wait, so the guy that the husband is taking me out to lunch and I have to sit there? Like, no, I don't want to do that. Like,
great.
It doesn't necessarily benefit that guy, right? No. The other guy. So people have to, in terms of a selfish benefit, you'd have to have a pretty mature attitude about, okay, well, I'm not enthusiastic about this meeting, but I understand it. And I care about these two people. And so I'm going to have that override my selfish need to avoid confrontation.
I don't think that meeting needs to be longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah. But, maybe it's all the reality TV I'm watching. Like most people that I have a sense of, like the average human being is just extreme. The more I think, I don't know if this is just me getting old or something, but I think baseline people are teenagers.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Like baseline mm-hmm. throughout their life. Most people never graduate from 16 years old. The way that people, like these, not only the cast members in these reality TV shows, but the discourse around these people in the reality TV shows is that of a 16-year-old. Not everyone, of course, mm-hmm. but the sort of general mainstream discussions and the way these things play out, it is, if I heard the behavior, I'd be like, oh, that's a high schooler or a middle schooler. Not an adult who rises to the occasion and says, look, this is what a mature, wise, well thought out, differentiated person should do, and then they take that, they have this thoughtful, goal oriented, altruistic approach that takes in consideration other people's feelings, your own needs. I guess I think what I'm expressing is when I was young and maybe even my 20s, I had this impression when old people, they're wise, right? They get things and they think things out and they've been around the block and they understand the difference between emotions and, they can sort of sift through it all in the end. But I find that and I don't know if we've regressed as a society, which sounds like such an old thing to say, that our society's becoming more childish or something, or we've always been this way. I suspect we've always been this way because that's usually the case. But there's just a lot of need for differentiated maturity, and the things you're talking about right now that you and Colleen have worked out, and the recommendations, and what you would do if there was another woman or another man that you would meet with them. And I could absolutely see you and Colleen pulling that off, you know, and you're just sort of surprised that, you know, most people would have a hard time with that. And I'm just like, I don't know what sort of different world we live in, but my sense is that I don't know if hardly anyone would be able to handle, to find 3 people that would be able to do that kind of meeting and do it well the way you and Colleen and someone else would do it. I don't know if I'm just
imagine
losing.
That's not
rare.
Likely. Yeah.
Anyway, let's take a break. Actually, let's take a break, Bob.
Yeah.
When we get back, let's actually answer some patron emails, but because we only got to one.
I'm not even sure we did the one.
No, we did. The secrets. And then when we get back, it's only going to be for patrons only. So if you want to listen to the rest of this, you have to become a patron of the podcast. Go to patreon.com or go to the app, and you'll hear us talk about emails and stuff.
George, become a patron. You can listen to the rest because we're going to talk about you.
Hey, deserving listeners, as you all know, I am constantly recommending that people go to therapy. We all need therapy from time to time. Well, one of the options available that is definitely worth checking out is BetterHelp. If you're looking for a therapist, I would give it a try by going to betterhelp.com/Kirk. Make sure you use the promo code Kirk because you get 10% off your first month, and it really helps us out. As you watch these videos, I know many of you have been motivated to find your own therapist, which is great because you deserve it. And I know also that it can be hard to find a good fit, find the right one for you. Well, one of the options available in terms of your shopping is to go to betterhelp.com/Kirk. I've been told you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. You can message your counselor at any time. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I've also been told that it's often less expensive than in-person therapy, and you should know that this service is available to clients worldwide. So go to betterhelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month today.